All right. Well, everyone, we have a special guest today. So welcome to the Double A Perspective. Dre, Candice, hello, everybody.
No.
So Candice is a friend of mine from way, way back in the, not as far as back as Dre, not that old, but still way back in the day. And we're going to be talking to her about all things motherhood. And this is episode is dropping just in time for Mother's Day. And also last Sunday, yes, was Bereavement Mother's Day. And we tend to miss that. And a lot of people don't pay attention to that. So I thought this episode would be very important. So we're going to turn it over to Candice, let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself.
I'm Candice. I am 41. I'm a mom of two. Recently divorced. What else can I tell you? I work in the maternal health space. I transitioned over full-time last year around this time, so like June of 2024. I transitioned full-time into maternal health. I have a background in like healthcare and a couple of other places that I've worked, mostly administration, but like now I am an advocate, a patient advocate, a maternal health advocate, and I am a community development manager for a doula company in Massachusetts. So that is a short version of who I am.
Okay, resume. Got it. So quick question now. You mentioned that you work in the maternal health space. So what brought you to that space?
So in 2019, I was pregnant with my first child, my son Aiden, and he was unfortunately stillborn at 23 weeks. When I was pregnant with him, it automatically assumed you're pregnant, you have a baby, bring the baby home, you go on with life.
Yeah, seems simple.
None of those things happened. I got pregnant. It had taken me 5 years to conceive him. Once I conceived him and had him got into I don't know, I was maybe 8 or 9 weeks, and I had gone to my first OB appointment, and she was like, I don't think we can actually take care of you. We're gonna have to transition you over to a doctor that can do a higher level of care for you. So I was transferred over to the maternal fetal medicine office, and I was seeing this doctor weekly. And when I was seeing her, I just assumed that I was like, oh, I'm pregnant. It's high risk. They're going to just take really good care of me. This baby will be born at some point, and maybe he'll be born early and, have some sort of complications, but we're going to get through that. It never was brought to my attention that this baby could potentially die. And that is what happened. So I went in on July 9th for a standard appointments that I'd had many of them. Went in, they were going in to do a couple of different things. They were checking my cervical length because I had found out weeks before that I had a short cervix. And I knew something was wrong as soon as I walked into the room and the tech started doing things, because they usually have your baby is on a screen above you, and I didn't see any movement. But she's moving the Doppler around, and she's like, I'm gonna go grab the doctor. And this woman comes in that I had never met, and she says to me, we're going to check again. And she does a quick swipe across my belly and puts the Doppler back down. And she's like, I'm so sorry. There is no heartbeat. None of that registered me, right? Because I'm just like, well, fix it. You're saying there's no heartbeat. Do something to fix that.
Right. Plug it in.
Exactly. And she said it again. And I think more of it registered that time because I then screamed, punched her in the chest, pushed her away. And I don't remember much after that. So all of those things transpired. My doctor comes down. My doctor is having a conversation with me. That was the one time that I'd gone to the doctors without anyone. I didn't go with my husband. I didn't go with my mom. My sister didn't go. It was the one time that I'd gone in for an appointment by myself. So I'm calling my mother, I'm calling my husband, trying to get someone at the hospital. My mother's in a meeting at work. I can't get in contact with my sister. My dad is somebody that I would never call in a situation like that. Finally, my mother calls back, gets over to the hospital, and then they start talking to you about all these different things that you can do, right? They're just like, oh, well, you can decide to deliver him. You can decide to have a D&E. And they're you're having all of these conversations, you're signing all of these papers, and you're having the worst day of your life, and they're just going on with business.
Right.
I remember getting admitted. I remember them saying to me, you could go home and come back. And I said, if I go home, I'm not coming back here. So I advise that you find some place for me to go. They admitted me into the hospital. I got up to antepartum. get us antepartum. And they have like a system on antepartum where they put cards on the door to tell you what's going on with that particular person. Like, so if a person's baby is dying, or if a person's baby has died, or if the person's baby is really sick, or the person is really sick, that's how their system works up there. I get into a room, and the next day I decide to have the DNA done. I have the DNA done. I have a complication. I almost die. I almost bleed to death. And was very, very close to losing my fertility.
Okay.
All of these things happen.
Now, pause for a second. Bring it back. Break it down. What's a DNA?
So a DNA is called a delivery and evacuate. So like most people go through delivery, right? Like they decide that they're going to like vaginally or have a C-section to have their baby. I opted for something completely different because that's the best that I could do at the time, right? I said, I want a DNA. I don't want to necessarily like go through labor. I don't want that.
Because that's a whole nother trauma on its own.
Right. So opt for the DNA. My placenta got stuck. So like when you're having a baby, like they don't tell you all these things, and like you have a baby and then you have to deliver the placenta after the fact. And so there's like two deliveries in one.
They leave that part out.
So, and I'm not awake for any of this, but my placenta gets stuck and my doctor comes in to explain to me, like after the fact, she's just like, we had to like MacGyver or something to be able to get the placenta out. She was just like, there was lots and lots of bleeding that we almost weren't able to control. I'm stable, but I ended up having something called a UAE done, which is a uterine artery embolization. So when you have that done, it's to stop bleeding, but there's also all of these things that happen after the fact. You have to lay flat for 6 hours. I was on labor and delivery. I remember being on labor and delivery. There's a bell that plays every time a baby is born. So I'm on labor and delivery. I don't have a baby. This bell is playing. And then every time that I look to my right, those little incubators that they have babies in when they're born is just kind of sitting there, but it's empty.
Wow.
So that's kind of where all my trauma began, right? Like, so you have all of these like things that are happening. So I'm laying flat for 6 hours looking at this incubator, finally can sit back up. Next day, my mother the whole entire time is thinking that I had a hysterectomy. For 24 hours, my mother is just like, has anyone told her that she doesn't have a fertility? Has anyone told her that she's not going to be able to have a kid? Does anyone have with her? And she's just, I'm not even really sure where we got this information from. My this person shared that piece of information. They're like, no, she still has her fertility. She will still hopefully be able to have children. Like, everything is there. All of her pieces are there. And I had a really great nurse. So I had Eden at the Brigham. So like I had like very like traumatic experience there, but I had one great nurse when I was there, and it was this older white woman, and I remember was sitting with me, and I was just like, I remember just like sobbing and wanting to be off of labor and delivery. And she's like, as soon as we get you stable, we can take you back up to antepartum. And she was just like, a place where it's quiet and you're not gonna have to worry about hearing all of these things. So that all happened, discharged home. That was a fight to get discharged home. I didn't want to be discharged in the place that they were discharging people that had babies, right? Like, you think they're discharging it to the place where like I don't have to like be traumatized again. That was a fight.
Right.
And finally was able to get discharged. My parents take me home. And believe it or not, Alex, I was mute for like 4 weeks.
I
was mute.
Wow. That's trauma.
Yeah, I couldn't articulate a sentence without like sobbing, and I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't really eat anything. I had lost like 40 pounds by the end of like my 6-week postpartum period. When all of this was happening, I never thought in a million years this is where I would be. I didn't think I'd be like publicly speaking, storytelling, and doing all of those things. You know, I went to a support group, met some really great women that had experienced the same thing that I experienced. And I don't know, maybe like 6 months later, the pandemic started, and I decided that I was going to try to get pregnant again. And I started interviewing doctors and like doing all of these things. And I would share my story when I was going into these places to have these conversations with these doctors. And the doctor that I chose when I had Grayson was someone that like, she really like latched on to me and was just like, you have such a great story to share. She's like, you should be doing this work. She does a lot of research in like maternal health and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So her and I become really good friends. And after I had Grayson, that's kind of where my journey started for the maternal health work.
Mm-hmm.
They paid for me to go to a program called Mama's Voices, which teaches you how to share your story publicly and kind of be in like front of providers and be in front of people so they're able to learn from your experience.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2023, I went to NIH and spoke there, and that's kind of where like my work took off. So that's where I met a lot of the people that I now consider friends and that are in this circle with me. A lot of them are colleagues. My boss is who I met at NIH. That's how I got my current job. So
Nice,
my
nice.
engagement had like a ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I got
Wow.
in the maternal health space.
Wow.
That's like the long
That's
story of it.
right. The long and short of it. Wow, that's wild. Wild. I can't even imagine being in that space, like sitting there and realizing like you no longer have a child, but like here's the incubator your child is supposed to be in when you're done. Like I really need everyone to get it together and realize the mentality that you're setting for the room. Like I really need sensory to be like number one priority for each situation.
Yeah. But even when you have a living baby, it's like that's like a whole other thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was like a whole other, like, oh, I'm supposed to love this little thing. And I don't necessarily like this very much. And
Yeah.
it's really cute. But
Yeah.
all of the other things that come along with it are not so cute, not so
Wow.
beautiful.
Man, that is an intense story. Dre, how did that rub you? How did you feel? From a male point of view, I'm asking.
Yeah, that's got the first part, there's a lot of parts that hit me, but I was like, yeah, when you said like that was the one time you're at the hospital, like by yourself, I was like that's like the worst time,
Mm,
right? You know?
Yeah.
that's like the only time you shouldn't be by yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, what's so crazy about it is like that was the one morning I was on time. I had gotten dressed really, really cute. I had like gotten her
Mm-hmm.
enough time to eat breakfast. Like all of the things, like when it was lining up, I was just like, none of this makes any sense. How is this
Mm,
even like I had gotten there early. I went to Avant Pan. I had oatmeal for breakfast, and I was just like, this is great, and I felt great. And then I get into this appointment, and I'm just like, what are you people even talking about right now? Fix whatever it is
mm-hmm.
that you're talking about. Fix it.
Like the machine's broken, right?
Right.
What are we doing right now? Like this, none of this even makes sense. And I think that like one of the things about me sharing my story is you don't see very many women that look like us
Mm,
talking about
that part.
the things that can transpire in pregnancy, right? I wasn't expecting to have postpartum depression, even though I had heard about it. I had done all of the things to avoid that. I didn't think that
Yeah.
I wasn't going to love motherhood. And
Mm-hmm.
even now, my son is almost 4 years old, and there's some days I'm just like, why am I the responsible party of this? Who allowed me to do this? I am the adult in this situation. But, you know, here we are. And,
I hear you.
he's
Like,
alive and well.
I mean, I personally don't have any kids of my own, but like all my friends do. And I have a conversation at least once a week where somebody goes, fuck them kids. Just fuck them kids.
And it's like, you
It's
love them
real.
with all of your being. I would take
Of
away from my
course.
son.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
when I'm arguing with you at like 6 a.m. about the spoon that I gave you, I don't want to do that. Like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign
It's
up to
ghetto. I'm
arguing
leaving.
with a 3-year-old
Literally.
that has more personality than I do, which is like insane. It's like literally arguing with yourself. And I'm just like, I don't.
So Grayson, love it. Gotta hear about him. So do your parents say, because you're venting about like, the 3-year-old you. Do your parents say that you got you?
My parents don't necessarily say no. My son is a force. My son is a force, and like a good force. These are things that I don't want to change about him. These are things that I want
Mm-hmm.
him to like stick with and like go with in life because he's got like his own personality. He beats to his own drum. It's just like he's very strong-willed, and I'm just like, yes, these are all the things that I want for you in life because you are gonna
Mm-hmm.
go places, just not with me.
Exactly.
I'm the
Try
adult
it
in
with
the
somebody
situation.
else. Try it
Find
with
somebody
somebody
else to
else.
fight with.
Yes.
I cleaned your butt for 3 years.
Remember that.
But Yeah, but I also see a lot of myself in him. So that's also
Mm-hmm.
very terrifying. So I'm always just like, this is what I did to my parents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, then you get into the idea of being like, I want to be a gentle parent. I want to parent different than how my parents parented me. And
Girl, bye.
I'm going to drop a book for every parent to read. It's called Conscious Parenting. My
Mm.
therapist told me to read it, started reading it, and being like, oh, so I'm really parenting myself. I'm not even parenting this kid. I'm parenting myself.
Mm.
I'm not parenting him.
Mm.
It's me that I'm parenting and being like, oh,
Okay.
I have to fix all the things that were done to me as a kid. But it's ghetto.
Yeah.
It's real ghetto.
Listen, 80s babies unite. We all know it was rough growing up.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what do you mean I can't say the things that my mother said or do the things that they worked on me? Doesn't
Right.
mean that we don't have some sort of trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also did not end up in jail. I was not a teenage mom. I was not
Mm.
swinging from a stripper pole. And no diss to anybody
Hello.
that was, but my parents did all the things that they needed to do to keep me away from those things.
Mm-hmm. Dre, what comedian is it that says that your only job in life is to keep your baby off the pole? Who was that?
Chris Rock.
Yes, thank you.
I knew what the question was as soon as you said your only job.
Keep your baby off the pole.
I did it.
And your parents did that.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
them. Good for them.
Yeah.
What would Vegas be, anyways?
Vegas would be quiet. Magic City wouldn't exist. So I wanted to ask, what's a lot of things that people get wrong about maternal grief? But yeah, go ahead.
I think two of the most shocking things for me was the world keeps going, right? So my world literally started on July 9th, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Complete halt. I would live that day quite often. But also people automatically assume because you have another child that everything is fine. You have this
Mm.
other child, you have somebody else to live for. But I also wake up every morning knowing that I'm supposed to have two children. Also knowing that if Aiden had lived, Grayson wouldn't be here, and vice versa.
Mm.
But also, I grieved that child twice. All of the things that I won't get to do with him. I remember
Mm-hmm.
Grayson getting his teeth, and I'm gonna start getting emotional, and I'm sorry in advance. I remember Grayson getting his teeth.
No worries.
When he started getting his teeth, one day I was brushing them, and I had a finger toothbrush, and I remember I was sobbing because I was like, oh my god, he's got teeth, and he's gonna talk.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually he's going to be walking around here. And eventually he's going to go off to school.
Mm.
Last year was really, really hard for me. So last September when kids were going off to kindergarten, Aiden was supposed to be going off to kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of my friends were pregnant at the same time. And all of my friends that their kids lived,
Mm-hmm.
that was really difficult. Even this year, Grayson is going off to pre-K. And that's going to be really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people understand that, even though you have this other child and it's great being his mom, I also mothered that other child.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in a different way. And, for
Yes.
a long time, I used to say, oh, no one cares about, the fact that he's passed away and, no one cares about milestones. But it's actually no one's responsibility but my own. I'm his mother. I carried him. He was in my body. And that's the other thing. That's the biggest betrayal of all of this, right? That child was in my body and my body failed. And so you have your body fail in one pregnancy, and then you have your body do what it's supposed to do in another. It's very, very confusing.
Ooh, that's a lot of heavy emotions.
Yeah.
All wrapped
Lots
up
of
in.
therapy. Lots
Yes.
of
I
therapy.
can imagine. I hope you have a good therapist, or at least a team of good therapists.
I do.
Good. Support system is necessary and definitely amazing.
But I also will say that I used to be very angry in the very beginning of this. I ruined friendships.
Mm-hmm.
I was very angry at people that I loved and people that were really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And probably 3 years into it, I had some sort of come to Jesus and was just I'm experiencing this for the first time, a lot of people that are around me are experiencing it for the first time and they have no clue what to do. I had a friend of mine say to me, he was just I didn't know how to deal with you in that capacity. He's just you've always been so well put together. And he was just and then you fell apart. He was just I didn't know what to do with that. He was just so when you called and you wanted to talk, Absolutely. I was doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I also was just like, I'm not gonna poke the bear. I'm not gonna push the buttons. And I think that it's important, but you have to be in the capacity and you have to be in the space to be able to do it and tell people what you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I had Grayson, I was very intentional about the people that were around me and the people that knew I was pregnant and the people that I wanted in my space because I wanted to be able to honor them, but also have like the safest pregnancy possible with Grayson. And, my friends and family really showed up in a way that I'm in awe still. And they still show up, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they come to events, they donate to anything I do for Aiden with no questions asked. And, they remind me of how powerful his story is.
Mm.
And even like in the thick of like being a well put together person, right? And then like watching your life, like I literally watched my entire life fall apart from like 2019 up until now. And like
Mm.
now I'm in a space where I'm like building it brick by brick back up. I'm building it in a way that like is actually going to work for me. It's not gonna work for anyone else. It's gonna work for me to be able to be the best mom I can be for these children. Because that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else really. I mean, other things matter, but like at my core, I don't want them to end up. I mean, everybody should be in therapy, but like I don't want them to end up in therapy because they're just like, oh, my mom is batshit crazy. Like my mom was not.
Right. Like be in
I'm in
therapy
therapy
to
too.
right. Be in therapy for healthy reasons, keep your shit together, but not because your mama traumatized you.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's the best case scenario. Dre?
Man, yeah. Like when you were telling the story about, the teeth and all the things, the milestones,
Mm.
I thought like at some point, you said your son's name was Grayson, right? Yeah. At some point, Grayson's gonna ask, like, he's gonna ask about siblings, right? And I'm curious, like, how is that story gonna come out then? Like, are you gonna lay it on thick, or are you gonna just lay it out like bit by bit,
Well, the interesting thing about being a last mom, right, is that like you have no filter. Like that shit like breaks as soon
Mm.
as like because like the worst thing in the world has happened to you already, right? Like I remember I used to tell people all the time. People would be like, "Oh, how many kids do you have?" And I'd be like, "2." And they'd be like, "Oh, where's the other one?" He's dead. Like that was like my segue into things. Or people being like, if they saw you after you
Mm.
were pregnant, they'd be like, "Oh, where's the baby?" He's dead. Anything else that you have to add? I mean, I've now been able to like say it more eloquently than that. And like I
Mhm.
have been telling Grayson about his brother, his big brother, since before he probably could hear. And we have bears, and I tell him stories about him. I show him his footprints. I show him pictures of me being pregnant with both of them.
Mhm.
And I'm never gonna lie about like or like sugarcoat that. And I think that's part of the problem with like our society is that
Mm.
like we try to like protect people from death, right? But these things happen, and they're real things that happen. And we don't do well with death, and especially like when a child dies, people are just like, "Oh, hurry up and pack this shit up. We don't want to talk about this no more.
Mm. Mhm.
Pack it up. We move on. You got another one, so like we don't need to hear about like what happened with the baby before that."
Mm.
But I do authentically want him to be able to say to people, "Oh, I have a brother and my brother is in heaven," or "I have a brother and my brother is just not here," because he's not gonna have any more siblings. Those days are over. So
She said, "Pack it in. I'm done."
unless we get a dog, or I
Fur babies are real too.
miraculously get pregnant somehow.
Speak it, Mother Mary. Okay. So that's so sweet. I like that idea, and I do agree that like people need to kind of like take off the training wheels about some things that are hard to deal with because you grow up into an adult that can't handle your shit because your parents, all the dogs went to the farm, like you never dealt with it. So I agree. I think it needs to be talked about openly, and kids should have grief groups because grandparents die all time. They don't know how to deal with things, and if your parent doesn't, what are you going to do? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a very important piece that needs to be normalized, I think. What? Yeah.
Come again?
Yeah. I feel you. So is your work in maternal health, do you focus more on Black women because we are so under marginalized, or do you, I mean, obviously it's a spectrum, it's your job, you got to take care of everybody, but like where do you gear yourself towards, because you being a Black woman know what we go through or what we don't get
So
in the
when
system.
I took my job, I was very,
Mhm.
very transparent with my boss. And I was just like, I'm going to take this job, right? And I'm totally with it. I'm totally in the maternal health world. But I'm here for all women, right? Like all
Mhm.
women, we all birth babies, we all have our tragedies. But at the core of all of this, I am a Black woman. I wake up a Black woman every day.
Mm.
And as someone that has experienced the trauma and the disrespect and all of the things when I was pregnant, and even in the best case scenario, I was always reminded of you are still a Black woman, despite having the husband, despite
Mm.
having the support system, despite having all of the things, you still are a Black woman at the end of it. So my work is geared towards all women, but Black women are at the top of that list because we are always the last
Mhm.
on any list.
Mhm.
You
That
know, when
part.
people are always just like, oh, Black women are so strong. If I never had to be called strong again, I don't want to be strong again. I want to take the cape off. I don't want to play the game anymore. Like I I want to be
Yes.
delicate. I want to be a flower. I do not
Mhm.
want to be exhibited as strong. I think we do ourselves a disservice being strong. It's great that
Mhm.
we
I
are
agree.
educated, we're smart, we're well spoken. Those are all great things. But at the end of the day, we still are women. We still have feelings and we still are, it's not an even playing field for us ever.
No,
And I mean, it's nice to be
not at
brought
all.
to the table now, but we're probably like 30 years behind.
Literally, literally. Oh my God. I agree. I was recently in a fight for my life due to endometriosis and had all these white male doctors trying to tell me what was best for me. And I'm like, do you own a vagina? No. So I'm going to need you, in your opinion, to go over there. And
Right.
honestly, I would have died had not had a random appointment at the Brigham with a brand new GYN who happened to be a Black woman. And she looked at me and she looked at my chart and she said, "You need to go downstairs to the ER right now." And that saved my life. So like being not misrepresented, unrepresented in and like it's so difficult because doctors don't know. They don't do the research. They put us in a box. They're like, I heard a fact the other day about like doctors actually learned in their training that Black people have a higher pain tolerance so that we
And
don't
still being
have
taught.
to. Yes, to this day. So it's like giving Black people pain meds. It's like, oh no, they're fine on Tylenol. Meanwhile, what? You're giving Susie's homemaker over here all the Percocets. Like what? Make it make sense for
Or
Elmo.
you get
No.
the other end of that spectrum. I had surgery before I like got ready to have my kids. I had a myomectomy to have remove fibroids. And they
Mm.
sent me home with 90 Percocets. And I was just like, whoever needs this many drugs, like whoever
Literally.
needs this. Why would anybody ever need this? And I remember the nurse distinctly saying to me, she was just like, and this is why we have a drug problem. This
Mm-hmm.
right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just
I
like,
say
I
it all
don't
the
even want
time.
to take these home.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing right now?
About to start a pharmacy. That's what you're doing.
But then, like, look at it, like, in retrospect, like, when I had Grayson,
Mm-hmm.
I had pain meds in the hospital. And then I was driving by the time I was home. Like, I got
Yep.
home, I had my baby on June 28th. By July
Mm-hmm.
3rd, we was home. By July 6th, I was driving. And I had a C-section. Like,
Wow.
and I mean, my fellow that just trained muscle with me, she was just like, Mom, just turn on feet that you can drive. That's all, yes, on basis.
Okay.
That's all I needed to do.
Right. You're like, I gotta get back to work. I got things to do. This baby
And
needs
that
diapers.
wasn't even
Like,
the case for me. Like I didn't go back to work. I worked for 6 months, but
good.
I wanted to be able to get up and do what I needed to do for me and my child, and
Mm-hmm.
not have to rely. And I mean, I have wonderful supports. I have parents that would walk across water for me, and I
Mm-hmm.
have all of the supports in place. But that is just not who I am as a person. I'm becoming
Mm-hmm.
better at it, but that just was not who I was as a person. And so I was like, oh, you shouldn't have told me that. Because I'm gonna be healed in 24 hours by the time I get home.
Right. Oh my goodness.
And
All
I
right.
mean,
So
I
I
probably
want to
did myself
stop
a
and
huge disservice, but Whatever.
Probably push your healing back a little further, but that's okay. You're here now.
Yeah, whatever.
It's all good. So I wanted to drop some Black maternal health facts that I came across when I was realizing we were doing this episode. And Dre, feel free to chime in because I know you got some on your side. Fun facts for people who don't know. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women in the U.S., even when controlling for income and education. Fun fact. Black babies are more than twice as likely to be stillborn compared to white babies. Now, see, she's in maternal health and she's confirming these, so it's like it's not just Google being shady. Like this is legitimate
Okay.
stuff. Yeah. More than 60% of pregnancy-related deaths are preventable if healthcare providers took women's concerns seriously. That part.
I'll give y'all a little gem for my people that are pregnant or people that are planning to expand their families. So when you go into a hospital and you're having a conversation with someone and you feel like they're not giving you the answer that you're looking for, and sometimes your answer, like what you're looking for, is not going to be best practice. But if you go in and you're asking them to do an extra ultrasound or something like that, and they're refusing to do it, make sure to tell them, can you please document that in my chart? Can you please document on my chart what you are telling me that you are not going to do? That is my gem that I am going to give to y'all.
I love that part. Document that in my chart.
And
yes,
you also, this is my other fun fact, don't have to stay with providers. So if you feel like the provider is not giving you the care that you want, you can pack that shit up and go and find somebody else to take care of you.
Exactly. I tell people all the time, second opinions, always get one, maybe 3. You never know. Don't just go with, oh, well, I've been with this doctor for such and such and such. Okay, cool. Great story, bro. This is a different situation. You need a specialist maybe. So you gotta look and do your research. My gosh, it's wild. And just the facts that I was learning just doing the research for this episode blew my mind. And even being a Black woman, but because I've never been pregnant, like it's just like it's sick. It's sickening, honestly. It really is. Dre, how's the Black men's side of the medical system? I mean, like, can you just jump in and get a vasectomy anytime you want? Like, what's
I don't even have a primary doctor.
I'm sorry, what?
Just use ChatGPT.
Sir, isn't your wife a doctor?
You can upload images, right?
I'm done. Not even gonna hold you. I definitely used ChatGPT to diagnose myself yesterday. I have a histamine intolerance. Now, mind you, I did follow up with my virtual urgent care to double check. I wasn't just gonna be like Google diagnosis, WebMD, go down a rabbit hole. I wasn't gonna do that. But yeah, apparently I'm allergic to hot tomatoes. Fun fact.
Never tried that.
Well, yes, you have. You've had pasta, you've had pizza, you've had lasagna,
Okay.
you've had all the
Hot
you've had
tomatoes,
tomato
though?
soup. Yeah, literally, I get flush and almost pass out every time I have tomato soup.
That was
Now,
like
I
your
didn't.
favorite.
Thank you. And I didn't realize this because every time I wanted tomato soup, I was sick. So I was like, oh, it's just because I'm not feeling good. Didn't put 2 and 2 together. Had some lasagna yesterday, took, and it humbled me.
Oh, Lord. That would be awful. I didn't even know that.
So now and I never noticed because every time I eat pizza or pasta, I always get Alfredo sauce or ranch or Greek or something. I never get
Which I
like
thought was
pasta
weird.
sauce. Yes, you did think it was, but I guess it was self-preservation in a way. Now we know. No hot tomatoes for me.
Dang.
Yeah, it, like releases an enzyme when it's warmer that like messes with the histamine
I get
and
it, yeah.
causes. Yeah, and I'm like, because I was like, I can eat a salad just fine. I don't understand. I'm not allergic to tomatoes. Yes, you are if they're warm.
Wow.
Oh yeah, so ChatGPT for the rescue for the PCP. Okay.
Yeah.
Can ChatGPT give you a referral to a specialist?
Can it?
Didn't think so.
I mean, you can go to an Amazon doctor now.
True. I was like, what
I
you
wouldn't
mean?
recommend that, though. Don't do that.
Yeah. I'm the same way with I'm all about online therapy, like with a therapist office that does telehealth, not like no offense to BetterHealth, don't cancel me, but like I heard about y'all. So don't recommend.
I had a
But
BetterHelp
therapy in general?
therapist for a little bit, and I was just like, I had a BetterHelp therapist for a little bit. She was an interesting woman, and I was in therapy for a little bit because I was just like, I don't know what that was, but
That was in therapy.
I was like talking to one of my friends. Like, this is really weird. Like, you're not giving me anything. Actually,
Yeah. Like this is not a vibe sesh. I really need you to check my shit. Like
it was
I hear you.
So Dre, she was talking about like being on the medical side of things for men and what they did for Maternal Health Month last month. I went to a conference at Tufts. The Mother Lab does a conference every year. It was their 8th annual, and they highlighted dads, and it was really really cool to see. And it was really cool to see like maternal health from a dad's perspective because like you never think about that, right? And I always
That's
say
true.
that if pregnancy more in parts of like the actual conversations, we might have been in a different space. Because I think it's hard to like watch your partner transition into this situation and not know what it's going to look like and watch them. Like he couldn't really understand what postpartum depression was. He didn't understand I was going to a day program. He didn't understand why I was so sick after we had our son. And he was just like, "You should be happy. We have another baby." I'm just like, "Yeah, that's how that works."
No,
Everything's a
there's
super
no.
dumpster fire.
I am urged to make a joke right now.
Do it. 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 Do it.
I like like
Do it.
I was like, it's because, right? Like for those 9 months, like you were partly a man, and that's why you felt so good. And then when that part of you left, your body was like, and
No real.
okay, all right, back to this shit. Okay, okay.
Fair.
Man. Very fair. Very fair. So like,
It's like all of the things that but no one prepares you for that, right? Like no one prepares you for how like the first year of your marriage you're gonna be roommates, like really not like each other, and like it's like four roses in your house because like all the hormones are coming out of your body. You're just like, I hate this man because nothing has changed for him. And like now I can humbly say that like I was part of the problem, right? Like I can say that now. Now if you had talked to me 3 years ago or 4 years ago when I was going through it, he was the problem. It was all him. Now I can humbly say that like I had something to do with our demise, and that is to be sure side of me.
who come through growth, okay.
And I wish him the best. And it is what it is. We got two beautiful.
It is. There you
I
go.
got two.
There you go.
I don't know what he got. I got two beautiful children out of it.
Love the petty.
But yeah, it's so interesting to hear it from like a male's perspective because it's like my body's going through all of the things, but it also it's just like y'all's lives are being changed and you're being humbled in different ways. And I also think that like the medical spaces push dads out kind of because it's just like, oh my god, it's the baby and how's mom doing? And it's just like no one's ever been saying that.
That's also a joke I make. In general, though, that's for moms and dads, but mostly dads. Like I tell all my boys, like like people, like you'll call people, or they'll call you, and they want to ask you how you're doing. They're like, "How's the baby doing?" You're like, "Man, I'm cool. I'm good."
They're gonna be like,
I literally call him to check on the kids and his wife. I don't check on him.
And you're a dude, so you can't really say nothing. You're like, yeah, it's cool, it's all right, man. Yeah,
Right.
you're doing well. Forget about me. I'll just go fix
like,
this thing that's
no one
broken.
tells you that like you're not gonna always love parenthood, right? Like there are days where I'm just like,
oh. I was totally on board with you, but you're like, yo, today, nah.
yeah, like there are days where I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What did you eat this morning that like who pissed in your Cheerios? Because like I didn't do anything to you. All I did was say good morning.
Literally.
Bring it down about 10 notches. And then I'm trying to give you your little waffle in your cup and you're mad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I wish somebody would give me breakfast and get my clothes out and tell me where to go.
Say it all the time. Well, not that. When I'm getting dressed, I'm like, bro, like I woke you up, I got you dressed, I changed your diaper, I fed you. Why are you upset?
Why are you mad, bro? Everything was done for you. So like
somebody with
we have kids, man.
What? Yeah, what Harrison's 11 now, but I remember one time he was crying like you would have thought someone like removed a foot, a limb, and it was because I had cut his like pancakes in triangles instead of squares or something.
Oh, well, that's just preposterous. Why would you?
So these are real things, man.
Yeah. Those are terrorist acts. I understand. I'm with Harrison.
Did you make him take a bath?
Oh, how dare you wipe the dirt off of him? How dare you?
But yes, so many things to learn, for parents to be, parents that are planning. But now you're a doula, right? You said you were a doula.
I am not a doula. I connect
You're
with
not a
two
doula. I
doulas.
thought I heard doula. Say
She
again?
works with doulas.
I work with doulas.
Works with doulas.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not a doula. I have
Okay.
a doula. I highly recommend it.
Okay,
What
pause.
what did your doula do? I mean, because
Before we
I'm gonna
get to
ask what
there,
yours did.
let's break down what a doula is before we jump on that. Because
Okay.
I, as someone who's never been through pregnancy, so confused.
So they are support people. They are going to support you through pretty much everything. So my
Mm-hmm.
doula supported me like preconception up until now. The girl still supporting me 4 years later. So
Oh wow.
her and Grace and actually share the same birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, they're support people, and I felt really empowered in my second pregnancy because I had her, and I'd be like, "All right, so I need you to talk to me like I'm two and break this down.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what all this means."
Mm-hmm.
And she would be like, "Well, these are your options." And she says, like, "You really should go to your provider and have this conversation. We can talk about it, but your provider's going to be the one that's going to make like the final decision. But we are like,
Mm-hmm.
they're like a buffer." And I mean, it was great. Walked into my C-section very confident. She gave me a massage right before my C-section. I was just like, feeling parts of me that I don't necessarily share with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Literally everything's on the table.
she also helped me with like breastfeeding. And when my postpartum depression was kind of at its height, I was like, I'm not really loving this right now. I was just like, I don't know what this is. This is not it. And she's just like, it's actually a lot
Mm-hmm.
more normal than you would expect it to be. And when I finally got diagnosed with postpartum depression, I can say now, she's the reason I'm sitting in front of you now. Because if I thought it
Mm.
was on like another week, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation, and it would be like a completely different thing.
Wow.
And it's just the support. Like it's different to have support from your family versus having support for someone that's unbiased. It's not a friend. It's not a family member. It's not. They're coming from it from a different lens. So I highly recommend everyone have a doula. Go for certificate, prove that everyone's insurance accepts it, because in the state of Massachusetts,
Mm.
that's the soapbox.
Another soapbox.
And being like, we need to make this so everybody can have a safe and equitable world. Whatever. We're gonna get there eventually. It's like we're 30 years behind in everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the more people.
Doulas would be free. If men were having babies,
Mm.
doulas would be free. No distract. If men were having
Mm.
babies, doulas would be free.
I think a lot of things should be free. Like I think milk should be free for the
Mm-hmm.
babies. I think
Mm-hmm.
daycare should be free.
Mm-hmm. Hello. Talk about that part.
Yeah. I also have a joke where I'm like, I think I did the math. It was like you can buy like a 92 pack of Bud Light for the price of like one can of formula. And I was like, you know how ridiculous so cheap to make them.
Absolutely crazy.
I was like, this is some crazy math right here, man. It's real easy to make these babies, but damn,
They expensive.
but
Oh my
that
God.
milk ain't cheap though. So yeah.
Somebody needs to send the list of the itemized list to Mr. Trump, because he seems to think that $5,000 per woman seems to be sufficient. But
Wait,
I
$5,000 for
digress.
what? 5,000 for what?
$5,000. He's trying to try to give an incentive for women to give birth, and $1,000 per baby.
I mean, I
I'm
thought
like,
we
a
weren't going to
month?
talk about the orange one on the show. Goodness,
We
whenever it
don't.
comes up,
You're
he
right.
always
You're
slips
right.
in.
I broke my rule. You're right. We don't talk about Senor Cheeto. But
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
yes, it is.
I was going to say, you could just, I mean, Elon's given, 15 mil. I'm just saying.
What's he giving 15 mil for? What?
Oh, we didn't talk about this?
No.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. If you want to Elon's, BMs, you get 15 mil plus 100K a month.
Oh dang. Yeah.
Yeah. See, most people they just look past that one.
They're looking at
They
the
just
dollar signs.
they're just looking at like, what can I do with 100K a month?
Right.
And
I
live
hear
on the
that, but
compound,
no.
I'm saying.
Can I get in with a fur baby? is my question.
Probably
Can I
not.
get on the compound with a
Probably.
Pekingese? I need to know. Asking for a
Probably
friend.
not. Yeah.
Damn. Damn.
Probably
Yeah.
end up making some weird army of some sort.
Literally.
Yeah. And that's the ones we know about. So, anyways.
You know you're doing something when Nick Cannon has to shout you out on Twitter on Father's Day. That's a problem.
Hey.
He said to
Nick
my
Cannon
main
works though,
competition.
man. The other day I clicked on Amazon. I was looking for probably somebody I need. I saw Nick Cannon doing spotlights. I was like, what the? Do you go to sleep? Like,
He doesn't. He can't go to
I
sleep. He
thought
got
you
bad
had.
kids to pay for.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, bro, gotta work hard for this check.
Listen,
Really do.
Wilding Out is on a 24-hour
This
loop.
dude over here holding up like stupid stuff. Like, all right, y'all, you gonna check out this lipstick right here. This is made by Burt's Bees. If you can buy the 5-pack, make sure you subscribe and save.
I'm dead.
I was like, wow, Nick Cannon. Okay. He looked tired too. I was like,
He got 85 kids.
You look tired. No, for real.
yeah.
It's
Okay. But, that's also like a fun topic that I wonder all the time too is like, what would it be like in a world like if dudes could have kids or dudes had to carry the kids? Like, man.
That's a whole nother episode.
I could already think of all the things that'd be different right now. Like, what? Like, yo, when you go back to work, go back. I had
Work
this
from
kid,
home
bro.
for
I ain't
life.
going back.
Like, what you mean? I had a kid. I'm done. I'm retired.
Yeah, going back. Dude, you a fool, bro. Yeah. But, they'd be like a
Permanent.
lot of stuff like, yeah, trying to get my body back in shape, Yeah, you might have like government, like gym programs and stuff like that,
Mhm.
Right next to the
Absolutely.
liquor store, you would see like a Planet Fitness or something like that,
Not a Planet Fitness next to the liquor store.
Yeah. It would be like Planet Fitness, liquor store, Chipotle, right?
One stop
Because
shopping.
like you go to the gym and you working all hard, you're like, man, I gotta reward myself, And then
No, how they trap you is they put like a Papagino's next to the gym. That's how they, and then
Yeah.
a milkshake on the other
yeah,
side.
you have to exactly.
it's just like,
Yeah, whole
Revolving
different
door.
world though. Like healthcare would be so different.
Absolutely.
it'd be free.
What?
It would be free.
A lot. There would be a lot out there. I wonder, yeah, so there was this I read a lot of crazy books, a lot of weird ones. And I thought, and one of them, it was a story. This guy had this idea. He was like, yeah, what I'm gonna do is he wanted to make this app for basically for your balls, right? And the idea was they install like a little trap, little door, right? A little trap door. And what happens is you gotta pay to keep the door closed. And that was essentially male birth control, right? You have to pay to keep the door closed. And if you didn't pay, well, there goes your birth control.
Oh man.
28 days
And I was like,
later.
that could work actually. But only for like, it depends on the age range you're targeting for that,
No, I've always had this theory that we should do birth control like when we're born. Snip everything and then unlock it after you get to take some parenting classes.
There is
Like
a book
hit puberty.
about that too. There's a book that
Is
has
there?
that too.
Yes, it's on
Yeah.
Apple TV. What's the name of that show? Hold on, I'm gonna tell you because we were watching it and I was
Silo.
like, this is really bizarre. Silo. That's what it's called.
I see. I'm good at this game.
Yeah.
My nurse recommended it to me. Oh, I got to get into it.
But and I won't get too much into that. But then here's the thing about this. What your comment, Alex, and yeah, it's inside is I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust it because on one hand I'm like, yeah, man, like keep all the dumb people out from making more duplicates. And on the other side, I'm like, someone's gonna be like, but I want them to look like me. All of them to look like me. And
Didn't a doctor get arrested for that?
he
I feel like
has
two of them
he has a
did.
Netflix show about that already.
Boy.
Anyways, and so I just wonder about the abuse of power that would come along with such a maneuver.
I agree. It would definitely probably turn into like a Black Mirror episode.
I mean, if you look at the history of birth control, it was intended to do that. Initially, its initial, we'll say, funding came from how can we limit certain groups from reproducing. It had nothing to do with female rights or anything like that, So
wow. Well, look at all the fun facts we learned today, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, we are running out of time, but I do want to give you space if you wanted to say anything to the people. Let them know, maybe like what's the hardest thing and what's the best thing that came out of your situation.
The hardest thing is like being here, right? Like not getting to like experience life. But the best thing out of it is that if I am able to help one other family, one other mother not feel alone, then I've done what I've needed to do. I've like, I don't want to miss my mark, right? And so sharing my story, sharing that motherhood is hard, reminding people that it doesn't have to be beautiful all the time, because there are days where I'm just like, I can't, I'm alive. And that's alive. He's intact. And then there's days where I really am just like, I am a kick-ass mom. Like there are days where I'm just like, I've got this. And it's just me, right? Like it is just me. There is no other parent. There's no one else to tap into. I mean, I have my village of people, but like at the end of the day, he is my son. And so I guess my one piece would be the days are long, but the years are short. That is the one thing that I am now starting to recognize, that like it goes quick, it goes quick. I can't believe he's going to be 4. I can't believe that this is where we're kind of at. He talks. He has like full-blown conversations with me. He's really funny, and he's really just like, he's my heart outside of my body. And it's amazing to sit back and watch, but it's hard. It's not easy. It's very, very hard.
Yes. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I wouldn't trade it. I love being their mom. Being their mom is not my only identity, right? Like there are other things that I do, but like it is at the top of my list.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Dre, did you have any final words you wanted to ask?
No, but a lot of what you just made that comment about reminds me of a book. I think we talked about it, and Mom's Day is around the corner, and that book was called "There Are Moms Way Worse Than You." So
yes, that was the gift you got Lisa for last Mother's Day. Yes,
that was a previous Mother's Day. Yeah, when she was a new mother, and she was worried about like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? And it's like, well, did you know that giraffe moms will throw their babies away when the lion's chasing them? Like,
goodness, your face.
Like, you hit not me. It's really.
I mean, it's true. Bunnies, if you leave them in there long enough, will eat their own children.
Yeah. So
animals.
You're a better mom than that.
On the side, there's also a book called "There Are Dads Way Worse Than You." So just keep it.
Oh my God, I don't even want to know.
This was good.
Oh, that's a whole nother right? Yes, we have a good time.
There's some species that they're like, look, it's survival of the fittest. Period.
Literally, my cat told her child.
Kind of
my
like
cat.
It's like, may the best one win.
It is.
Yeah.
But you don't.
But I also did a mean thing.
You're young.
Like, is it mean? Like, like on my porch every year there are these. I don't know if they're the same birds, but they make a nest on my porch, and they usually have about 3 eggs. So 3 baby birds, and for that X amount of weeks, there's a lot of bird shit on my porch because they just, they're just. And I have to, and I'm like, this is the circle of life here, man. You should just watch this and enjoy this nature channel on your porch, and then go get the power washer when they're gone, There
you go. Always use.
But then this year I was like, nah, fuck that. I ain't getting power wash out, and I put a piece of board there, and I know they came and was like, what the fuck? I swear, like, dude,
out here.
Do we get evicted?
And
I'm like, yeah, you did. You got evicted. Okay.
You gotta go.
You gotta go. All right. I mean, you never clean up. You just come, you make a mess of the place, you leave.
Worst tenants.
No, yeah, they weren't really good tenants. Okay. Yeah, and so Candice, this is Andre, this is me, and Alex knows this. Like, somehow, if you've ever seen our other shows, it's pretty much this.
This tracks.
I like it.
Yeah, we have a good time.
But thank you for joining this show. I learned so much. Appreciate your insight and this just beautiful conversation that you were able to bring to the viewers.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm sure it's going to reach so many people. I always say, always share your story, because you never know who you're touching that day. You never know who's listening. You never know who thinks they're alone and just happen to tune in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's my favorite quote. Yes, the days are long and the years are short. I like that one too. That was a good one.
Yes, that was dope. That was dope.
I'll think of that one when
because the days are very long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I walked
They
into
seem like they're
Jason's room the
longer
other
than
day and I was
24
like, bro, your
hours,
room
most
smells
of.
like poop and pee.
So true. Wait till you're at my stage when they're 21, but they're still children.
Hmm.
Now they're just expensive with opinions.
Yeah, that too. My
Yeah.
niece and nephew, they're in their 20s, and I'm just like,
Yes.
if you need to talk to me, text me. Don't call me for anything.
Yes. This could have been an email, is a majority of our conversations.
Ha ha ha.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off. Again, Candice, thank you for joining us and
Thank you for
sharing your
having me.
story. You're welcome. And feel free to come back anytime. Anytime you got any updates, you want to let us know, I will log you in.
I love that. I love that.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Enjoy the show, and we'll see you next time.